Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Homestead. I know it's been a while. The last year or so there's been a lot going on in our lives, and so I just want to let you know that I am going to be posting videos again, trying to do it as organically as possible. We just had our fourth child, Abigail. She was born on September 10th of 2024, and before that and during my pregnancy and a little bit after, now she's 17 months old, we've just been kind of taking a break and reevaluating how I want my presence on YouTube to be. And I am really very committed to just being as authentic and organic as possible. Before, I was trying to kind of come to you guys in a more professional manner, which I think is great. I mean, Matt and I were getting together and kind of sitting together and talking about things that we thought were interesting and kind of near and dear to our heart. Financial, independence and frugality and homesteading are things that are really important to us. And so I'm just going to go over in this video kind of who we are and what this channel is going to be about. And I hope that you will follow and kind of give us your comments and let us know how you live, because I think we live in a time that is very interesting. My husband and I are 40. We have 4 kids. Our oldest is 8. You can see him he's wearing a jacket in that video just now. Our 8-year-old is Thomas. Our next child is 6, and her name is Jocelyn. And then our second son is Jacob, and then our baby is Abigail. That is our last child. We are done at 4, and we have been so blessed by God for our 4 beautiful, healthy children, and we're just so thankful. And so here you can just see us. I am just up planting some of our seedlings. There's Thomas, and I think Jacob's there. Yep, there's Jacob and Thomas, my 2 boys. And so we live in zone 7A. We are in 7A in Pennsylvania, and I always get peppers and tomatoes in late summer and sometimes even into the fall, and I really, really wanted my peppers and tomatoes to be here earlier this year. And so we started our seedlings pretty much in the first week of February. Usually I wait a little bit longer, usually mid to late February, but we started extra early this year. And so they are already needing to be put into some bigger cells here, some bigger pots. And so I am taking the seedlings that are in their first sizes, and I'm putting a couple into bigger pots. And I will do that a few times. And I know some people don't do that. This is just the way that I feel like I get the most hardy, beautiful plants. I know everybody has different methods. I prefer to give them new nutrition and up them usually twice is how it goes for us before they end up getting hardy, and I'm able to start to get them transitioned to the outside. But anyway, so that's what we're doing here in this first part of the video. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is just like kind of the things that I'm passionate about. I grew up in a pretty low income family. Oh, there's my husband, Matt, in the background. So I grew up in a pretty low income family. My parents are really struggling right now. They're in their late 70s and they have nothing. And that was something that I never wanted to experience. And, I'm kind of in this weird transitional phase as a 40-year-old where we're having to help them, which is fine. I'm really trying to lean into what God wants me to do, and is to kind of just be there and take care of our elders. And sometimes that's hard for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's emotionally hard too, when things aren't forecasted the way that you've seen them and wanted them to be. But we are leaning into that season right now, and we have when we first started dating in 2006, Matt and I really just wanted to be financially independent. We really wanted to do better than our parents did before us. And so we kind of went into our marriage really, really serious about not having debt and to be as frugal as possible. And so that's kind of what the point of this channel is going to be. It's really going to be like how we live and how I, as a homemaker and as a mom and wife, really lean into that job. I did go to school to be a nurse. I do have my bachelor's of nursing. However, the Lord called me home several years ago, and I have been really fulfilling that role to be a mom to my 4 kids and to be a wife and a mom first. And so losing that income was pretty significant for us, and it really was. But we made the decision to become a 1-income family, and I feel like it was in the last 6 years, and it was in one of the harder times. I feel like that transition took place, but there really isn't a good time. And I will tell you factual information here that we are doing way better than what we were doing when I was working outside the home. And I really truly attribute to the fact that like we were just spending more money. We were eating out more because I was exhausted after working all day and then coming home and having babies to take care of and routines. I'm just so much more intentional now. And when it comes to Faith Homestead, it really is Faith Homestead. Our priority first is God. You are going to see us and hear us talk about God always. He is the first priority in our lives. So God is the first. And so that is the faith part of Faith Homestead. And Homestead is just that we are modern day homesteaders. We don't have a farm. We have about almost a full acre here where we live, which is more than some, but it's less than I would like, but we need to be content where we are. And so we use our almost full acre homestead to grow lots of vegetables, and we have some chickens, and that is what we have right now. And we use it to the best of our ability, and we are very grateful, and we are thankful for what the Lord gives us and entrusts to us. And so you are going to be learning about how we make every single dime stretch. We spend between $400 and $500 a month on groceries for a family of 6. I really try to get that under $400 a month. However, it has gone up a little bit lately because I don't know if some of you may have heard of Azure Standard. Azure Standard is really, really cool. It's basically organic items that are brought in on a large tractor trailer, and the tractor trailer drives all over the country to different locations these are drop locations, like drop points. There's my daughter Josie. And the truck will pull up to a location, like for us, it's at a church, and once a month it will tell you when it's going to be there, and you go and pick up all your stuff literally off of a tractor trailer. And it's just like, it's cheaper than buying organic stuff at box stores because you're getting it like right from the tractor trailer. And so we have been doing that, and because we're doing that, we buy bulk, and so the bulk buying has increased our grocery bill. But I think over the period of a year, I'm keeping track of it, but I still think it'll average out to around $400 a month. It's just like some months are more than others right now. And so, so that is some of the things that are really important to us. We are a completely zero waste home. We do not waste anything. So if I serve lunch and there are 2 strawberries left over, those 2 strawberries are either going to be eaten by me or they're going to be put in a container and they will be served at the next meal. I think that we, as Americans, throw away way too much food. And I think that's something that we really need to be more intentional about. And so you'll see me making lots of meals and not wasting anything. There's Abigail. She's so sweet. She is the absolute completion of our family. Matt is just so smitten with her. He loves her so much. So sweet. Aw, so cute. But yeah, so that is, our priority. We are a completely thrift, secondhand, auction, side of the road type family. I would say that 99% of what we own is thrifted or from Facebook Marketplace or auction. And so that's just a little bit about kind of what's going on in our family. And I am so thankful that you are here with us. And I do appreciate you staying with us. You can see here that we got a pretty nice snowstorm. It's actually really funny because when I was a kid, I'm sure you remember if you live in the Northeast or anywhere near the East Coast, the blizzard of 96, I was 10 years old during the blizzard of 96, and that is a core memory for me. Some of it was actually a little stressful. I feel like we were evacuated at the time. We lived along the Delaware River, and the water was cresting, and like these giant icebergs were coming up onto like the land, and we lived really close to the river, so they like made us evacuate because there was like a huge flood warning. And so I remember like having to go to my aunt's house during that time, and it wasn't super fun. But I do remember afterwards playing and doing all of the fun things in the snow during that time. And so we just got, we had 2 storms this year, which was really exciting. And this one we got around 20 inches of snow. And so that was really cool. And here I am making a really, really yummy snowy breakfast. I am making a potato hash. Excuse me. A potato hash, and I'm making pork roll and homemade biscuits. So here I am doing that. So I really would like to know in the comments, what are some things that you do to save money right now in 2026 for your family? There seems to be a lot of people struggling right now. I know that even I have to get creative sometimes when I'm cooking in the kitchen, because I really don't want to spend a lot of money, but I also sometimes get really annoyed at having to take the long way. There's something that comes with intentional homesteading. I believe that it's really a call to simplicity, but we are so, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like we're kind of like rusty at the whole homesteading thing, because we were raised in such a convenience, fast-paced world. I mean, like, you know, what comes to mind when I think of my childhood was like McDonald's. McDonald's was so fun. It was so awesome when my mom came home with McDonald's after she worked as a waitress all day. And for her, it was, you know, that it was inexpensive back then, but everything was processed, it was fast, and it was convenient, but we loved it. We all loved it. I mean, like, let's just admit it. We all loved it. We all have candy that we still remember that was our favorite, that we won't even give to our kids because it's so bad. We were just talking about that. We had a winter carnival at the church that I go to, and all of us were cleaning up afterwards, and you know, we had so much candy left over, which we're going to use for children's events and things like that, and you know, vacation Bible school. But we were talking about how like we love certain candies as kids, but we don't even want to give it to our own kids. I mean, we do. I personally give candy in moderation. You know, I don't withhold things, you know, for all the time with food dye and things like that. But I am more intentional. I mean, my kids drink water. I never drank water ever as a child. I drank like iced tea and soda. And so it's just funny. Like, you know, I feel like I'm going back to a time that I didn't ever experience, if that sort of makes sense. And so I'm not like, I guess I'm just not used to how long it takes to do things sometimes. And I truly believe that it really isn't that hard, but we're so used to convenience. And so, for example, like this video is actually what I'm doing here is pretty easy. I literally am just making a potato hash. Like this is like super easy for me. But like if you look in the background, like you see that yellow tag, these were peppers that I got at the store, and I bought them because it was $1.49 for a huge bag of peppers. And I'm like, okay, like I need to use these peppers up. That looks like a lot of salt. It really wasn't. Just saw that pour, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like yikes. It wasn't a lot, I promise. It tasted really good. But so anyway, I was like, I have all these peppers. I got them on like super reduced clearance. Like I need to be intentional this week about using these peppers up. Like I don't get to like not have peppers this week. Like I bought them. They were cheap. This is going to fill bellies. Like, what am I going to make with these peppers? And so, like, sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like doing that. Like, I just want to throw in a frozen pizza, or like, let's go out to eat. That is the difference between the old me and the new me. And I feel like I've never was, I mean, I was, when I worked full time, it was harder, but I've always had this calling. I feel like God really, really wants me in this role, and he really wants me to kind of grow in where I'm planted, and really just, give my family kind of like the old school ways, And so an example of this was, and I'm not going to lie, today was exhausting, but I was making a meal for someone at my church that is in need, and I decided to make chicken pot pie. And the chicken pot pie, of course, like, I'm not going to go buy pie crust, and I'm not going to buy chicken gravy, because I can make all that myself. Like, of course, I'm going to make that all myself. And so I made the gravy from scratch. Like, from complete scratch, made the country gravy that I'm using in the chicken pot pie, and from complete scratch made the pie crust. And so the process, while ended up being absolutely delicious, my husband was like, this is the best chicken pot pie, it just took like so much longer. And there are ways around that. Like, now I know the next time I do this, it's not even going to be the next time I do this. It's going to be the next time I'm going to think ahead, and I'm going to spend one afternoon, like an hour, just making crust. And I'm going to make a bunch of crust, and I'm going to freeze it. And so when I want to make a chicken pot pie, I'm just going to pull it out of the freezer, that pie crust, the day before. And so I'm also going to make gravy ahead of time. And then I'm going to freeze it in containers. And so then when I actually want to go make a chicken pot pie from scratch, I'm going to have all of the parts to then put it together, and it's not going to be this like hour upon hour process. And so I think it's like we have to take our intentionality to like a whole new level that we were never like wired for. Our ancestors were wired for it, but I feel like we've lost the skill. And so on this channel, you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of intentionality, like making mixes. Like the other day I made homemade onion dip mix, because I love a good chip and dip. Like, who doesn't like chips and dip? Okay. Like, I feel like that's another 90s classic. Like, you always had chips and dip at every holiday. And so because I love these things, I want them every once in a while. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy these Lipton packets anymore because they're expensive, and they're not really expensive. But when you add up all these little modern day conveniences, it becomes something that puts you over your grocery budget. And so I made an entire quart jar full of onion mix for probably 50 cents. That's a win. And now I have it whenever I need it. And then when it gets low, I'll make it again. My children love hot chocolate. And of course, guess what I was buying for years and years? You got it. Swiss Miss, or the generic version from Aldi. And that's great until it's not, because I know for a fact that I can just make it. But we have to get past I don't know how to. We have to look it up. And so now I make quarts upon quarts of hot cocoa mix. And my kids can just heat up some water and take a couple scoops of hot cocoa from the jar, and they can make their hot cocoa mix. And it's so easy, and it's pennies. It's literally pennies. All of these things you are going to see on my channel. I'm going to teach you all of the things that I'm doing, which is going to be so helpful. And I really hope it's going to be helpful. And so, like, just brown sugar. I didn't know until 2 years ago that I could just make my own brown sugar. It's just sugar and molasses. And you mix it in a big bowl, and then you put it in a jar, and there you go. You have brown sugar. I feel like we've lost all of these things, and nobody tells you. Like, nobody knows until they're informed. And so thank you so much for being here, guys. I can't wait to see you. Have a great day.